शास्त्र में दान हेतु सुपात्र ढूंढने को कहा। हम भी किसी एक सुपात्र को मतदान करने जा रहे।
Welcome to our special broadcast. It's 6 p.m., which means that the world's biggest elections are officially over. That is, of course, unless the Election Commission descends to extend the time. But yes, officially, at least as of now, it is the end of the Indian Lok Sabha elections, which has been much like the last stages of this entire long 9-phase poll, marked by some violence and some complaints of elections violations. But if you look at it in the overall scale of numbers, it is dwarfed by the extent of this exercise. A total of 500 million people have cast their vote in the first 8 phases from the total eligible pool, of course, of 830 million. And that is a 66% turnout as of the last 8 phases alone, which itself is a jump already of 8% over 2009, which was a 58% turnout. So it's already looking like a record-breaking elections any way you look at it. Now, before we actually count down to our political debate, which is also now going to look ahead to the formation of a future government and the politicking that has already begun, let's bring you all the big news right on top. Now, as we said, there has been, particularly in the 2 regions which went to the polls today, in eastern Uttar Pradesh, the last set of seats there, and in West Bengal, some complaints of poll violations, and particularly in West Bengal, violence. I'm joined by Monadeepa Banerjee, my colleague from West Bengal. Monadeepa, run us, if you will, through some of the instances of violence that you are reporting on through the day, and how seriously is it going to impact the poll?
Well, it's hard to say how seriously it's going to impact the polls, but yes, there were incidents of violence, starting with the worst incident at Hadua. This is in Bashirhat constituency up in North 24 Parganas, where a bunch of people who are all CPM supporters, they were apparently walking to the polling booth. That's when they were attacked by alleged Trinamool miscreants, and they were attacked with guns, besides, of course, knives and rods. So at least 4 people have received gunshot injuries. Another 4 have head injuries from lathis and choppers, and they are in hospital. That really was the most violent kind of clash that we saw today. Other than that, sporadic clashes across the 17 constituencies. Say in Jayanagar, there a CPM polling agent was slashed in his head with a chopper, seriously injured. Out in Keshpur, which is in the Ghatal constituency, some more clashes between CPM and CPI left and Trinamool workers. In Barakpur, in North 24 Parganas, many places, and in the heart of Kolkata itself, there was an incident of bombing. This in Bada Bazar. 2 bombs were hurled. Of course, the Trinamool claims that they were the targets. The BJP, which has a presence in that area, they claimed that they were the targets. A BJP councillor claims she was the target of the bomb attack. So through the day, these incidents continued to come to us, news of these incidents. And last, we just heard from Canning, and we have some pictures which show assisted voting. So there's this man in a blue check shirt who is hanging around in a vote station at Canning, and he is assisting particularly women to go and virtually push the button on the EVM. So certainly irregularities, but whether they will, change the way the votes are going to go, that is an open question. We'll have to wait and see. But a very crucial election today, really. 17 constituencies. Of those 17 constituencies, in 2009, the Trinamool had got 14, and its total was 19. So 14 seats came from this phase of elections. The CPM, the CPI, the Congress, and the SUC had got 1 each. So today, a big challenge for the Trinamool to retain those 14 seats and improve its performance. For the left, for the Congress, and for the BJP, which was a minor presence in 2009, the challenge to make inroads into what the Trinamool had in its pocket. So a big vote today. Sadly, little violence that has certainly, created some tension in the state.
All right, Monadeepa, thanks very much indeed. Well, obviously the other big region, the big battle in Varanasi was the focus today all eyes on that seat where Narendra Modi is taking on Arvind Kejriwal and also Ajay Rai of the Congress. We'll just get you a live report from there, as well as the latest turnout figures from Varanasi. Right now, the figures we have are only for eastern Uttar Pradesh as a whole, and those are obviously getting updated, so we'll get you those in just a second. But there was some controversy earlier in the day when Ajay Rai entered the polling booth with his party symbol prominently displayed on his kurta, which led to the BJP protesting against it, and the Election Commission also serving him a notice. Subsequently, Ajay Rai came up with an explanation. He claims that he was simply not aware. It was a lapse on his part. This is what he told NDTV's Anand Zanane.
सर, आप इतने सीजन्ड पॉलिटिशियन हैं, कई चुनाव आप लड़ चुके हैं, जीत चुके हैं, आपको अब गाइडलाइंस की काफ़ी अवेयरनेस होगी एज अ कैंडिडेट, फिर भी आपने सिंबल इसको इस तरीके से यहाँ पे लगाया है।
कोई ऐसा नहीं कि जानबूझकर मैंने किया हुआ था, वो तो मैं एक कहने कि कल यही कुर्ता पहनकर मैं था और उसको उतार कर टांग दिया था, मैंने रखा हुआ था, फिर उसी को पहन लिया। बस एक रूटीन वे में जो जिस तरीके से लगा रहता है उसी तरह से सिंबल लगा हुआ है। मैंने जानबूझकर मैंने कोई हाथ में लेकर नहीं दिखाया, या मैंने सर पर बांध के दिखाया, या फिर हाथ में मैंने लिया इसको।
आपने सिंबल को हाथ में लेने की बात की। बीजेपी कहती है कि मोदी जी ने जब अपने हाथ में सिंबल लिया था वडोदरा में वोट डालने के बाद, और फिर उसके बाद जो बयान दिया था वो 200 मीटर के दायरे से बाहर था, फिर भी एफआईआर हुई। तो वो कहते हैं कि आप तो बिल्कुल उसके दायरे के अंदर थे, उस सीमा के दायरे के अंदर थे।
उन्होंने हाथ में लेकर दिखाया था 200 मीटर के अंदर या बाहर, मैं तो अंदर कहता हूँ उन्होंने हाथ में लिया हुआ था। मैंने कोई हाथ में इसको नहीं लिया हुआ था कि हाथ कांग्रेस का सिंबल मेरे हाथ में है, तो मेरा हाथ तो है ही है ये, पर ये अंदर ये मैं लगाकर तब किसी भी सरकारी कर्मचारी अधिकारी ने कोई नहीं टोका टाकी की। और मैं एक रूटीन वे में जिस तरीके से मैं चुनाव में निकलता रहा हूँ वैसे ही मैं निकला परिवार के साथ, वोट डाला और वोट डाल के आया, तो फिर ये मीडिया में सारी बातें आने लगी।
आप कह रहे हैं कुर्ता आपने प्रचार के दौरान पहना था और आपके इस पे ये बैज लगा हुआ था और ये लगा रह गया और आपसे गलती हो गई अनजाने में।
कल से ये कल का मैंने था, ये कल भी एक कुर्ता मेरा था शाम का, ये उतार के मैंने रखा था, इसको फिर पहन के मैं आ गया।
तो आप मानते हैं बात की आपसे गलती हो गई?
अब मैंने कहा ना कि जो भी चीज़ों की ये कोई भी जानकारी है इस तरह से मतलब रूटीन वे में है ये, और मैंने कोई जानबूझ के ऐसा नहीं किया कि मैंने जान के ऐसा किया कि मैं ऐसा करूंगा तो ये ऐसी चीज़ें होंगी, ऐसी बातें। मैं सम्मान करता हूँ आयोग का, और जो आयोग का आदेश निर्देश होगा उसे मानेंगे।
उन्होंने फुटेज मांग लिया है, जाहिर सी बात है, शायद हो सकता है वो आपको नोटिस भेजे आपके एक्सप्लेनेशन के लिए।
उसका जवाब हम देंगे, और जो जवाब देंगे वो आपके सामने आएगा।
तो आपका जवाब क्या होगा?
अब ये तो पहले नोटिस आ जाए तब जवाब देंगे, अभी नोटिस आई नहीं।
सर, एक और चीज़ है, आज कुछ बल्क एसएमएसेस चल रहे हैं किसी मतलब रिलीजियस लीडर की तरफ से कि किसी को वोट दिया जाए, एक पर्टिकुलर कैंडिडेट को वोट दिया जाए। तो इस तरीके से कम्युनल लाइंस पे वोट मांगना क्या सही है? किसी और कैंडिडेट के लिए किसी मुफ्ती ने जारी की है अपील, तो आपको लगता है कि रिलीजियस लीडर्स का इस तरीके से अपील जारी करना ये सही है, गलत है?
नहीं, टोटली गलत है। ये तो इस पे सबसे पहले तो आयोग को इस पे लेना चाहिए कि ये जो बंटवारे की राजनीति यहाँ बनारस में हो रही है ये सबसे खतरनाक है, और सो यही यहाँ पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी करती चली आ रही है।
Right, so controversy dogging that contest in Banaras, and indeed, in fact, the entire poll process, as we said, right down to the wire. And will this now also impact the process of government formation as well as the tying up of future alliances? Let's dive straight into our debate. We're joined by Chandan Mitra of the BJP. Ashutosh, Lok Sabha candidate of the AAP, is with us, as is Sudhindra Badoria, senior leader of the BSP. Narses Salim, recently recruited spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, here in our studio. Sanjay Jha, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and also Siddharth Vadarajan, senior journalist here joining me. Can I just first go across to you, Chandan, specifically on Banaras before we widen the debate? And this is simply to ask you that there's been some talk of some kind of last-minute AAP Kejriwal surge or undercurrent in Banaras. Is that something which has worried the BJP at all, or are you still seeing it pretty much as a done deal?
Look, I don't think there's anybody who has been to Varanasi or has followed the election will doubt my statement that Mr. Narendra Modi is heading for an overwhelming victory in the city, and it is not really relevant who comes second. The fight is for the second place. It is not. I mean, the first place is taken. So I don't think any reason why the BJP should be worried. And I don't know who is saying all this. Obviously, they are trying to hide their own anxiety by saying BJP is worried. BJP has nothing to worry. Others have reason to worry as to whether they will come second or third.
Right. Well, actually, Ashutosh, you tweeted, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday saying that Narendra Modi is losing, we are winning. Was this just mind games, Ashutosh?
Sheeny, in fact, I must tell you that the election is over, so the time for the tall claim is also over. And I think Chandan should also realize that now election is almost over, and we all should wait for 16th of May when the results will be out. I was there for a good 22 days, and I could tell you that it's going to be difficult for Narendra Modi. That's what I can say. And
on
anybody
on
who has
what
not been
basis,
to
sorry
the
to interrupt,
Varanasi-
but on what basis are you saying that?
You know, on 19th of April, when I landed over there, everybody thought that Arvind Kejriwal is nowhere in the race and he's just fighting for the third position and Ajay Rai is number 2. But if you see overall in the last 20 days and especially in the last 4-5 days, the kind of response we got in Varanasi, and especially in the villages and in certain areas, it's an overwhelming response. And if you had seen on the 9th night, the roadshow, which responds in the 5 hours, almost 5 kilometers, he covered in 6 hours.
Yes.
And that time, it was almost mesmerizing kind of a response. So I'm not going to say and claim that we are going to win with a large margin like Chandan is saying. I'm just going to...
Let me get Chandan to quickly respond to that before I move to the Congress. Chandan, quick response to that. They claim that there's an undercurrent which the BJP hasn't picked up on.
No, well, congratulations to Ashutosh and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal in case they have spotted an undercurrent and they believe that the undercurrent will push them past the post. But good luck to them. But frankly speaking, I don't see any undercurrent in favor of anybody. It is an overcurrent, undercurrent, side current, whatever it is for Mr. Narendra Modi. But then I agree with Ashutosh. Let's wait till the 16th.
Okay,
Why debate all this? We are friends. We are all staying in the same profession. So I don't want to fight or take up issues, cudgels seriously. Let's wait for the 16th.
Okay, all being very civil, I must say. Sanjay Jha, if I can just bring you in, that we've seen what's happening in Banaras in a way almost becomes symptomatic of what has happened to the Congress in this election as a whole, that the Congress candidate there is somebody who's not being taken seriously as a contender at all, and it's just a matter of whether he's going to come in 3rd or 4th place. Any reason for that? There have been plenty of conspiracy theories about this, but what do you think explains the fact that we've seen the Congress candidate in Banaras, virtually his campaign being overtaken by the Aam Aadmi Party, and the real fight seems to be between Kejriwal and Modi?
Well, you know, that is an assumption, Basu, that you are making, that the media is making, but I want to remind you of what happened when Mr. Rahul Gandhi landed there for his roadshow. I mean, the crowds that you saw were genuine crowds, a spontaneous outpouring from the local people of Banaras. And don't forget, you know, with due respects to Mr. Modi and to Mr. Kejriwal, the people of Varanasi, they have experienced a lot of politics, they've seen a lot of politicians. They saw a disastrous former MP in Murli Manohar Joshi from Banaras. And, you know, end of day, they know that Mr. Ajay Rai he's a local MLA. He has been part of the constituency. He understands the ethos and culture of the people of Banaras, and he's likely to deliver much more than the other outsiders. So, you know, I think we should wait and watch. You see, in the elections, understandable, because both Mr. Modi and Mr. Kejriwal are very high-profile politicians, both on account of, you know, their excessive media visibility, as well as the parties they lead, which is fair enough. Mr. Ajay Rai, we believe, and we are very confident about it, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's presence in Varanasi, let me assure you, was not just an attempt at tokenism to take on Mr. Modi in his so-called den, but it was to boost the opportunity and the potential of Mr. Rai to defeat both Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Modi. I think we should wait. It's another matter of 4 days. I think you will be headed for a stunning surprise.
All right, stunning surprise or not, we'll know very soon. But let me just quickly get all of you in on the whole turnout debate, and that's obviously been a debate that we've had right throughout this election process. And let me ask you, Nasir Salim, first about the fact that we've already seen a very high turnout registered in the existing phases, and it's quite likely to be high even in this last phase. Does that worry you as the Samajwadi Party, as the party, the incumbent party in Uttar Pradesh? Because high turnout, some say, though this is not analytically always true, is a sign of anger, it's a sign of the anti-incumbency against the government.
Look, as far as we are concerned, very clearly, we are not worried. We are very comfortable in the entire situation. UP,
even in Azamgarh, which went to vote today, Mulayam Singh Yadav,
we are very confident of our results. The results will be an outcome in the next 3 to 4 days you'll have them in front of you, Srini. But let me come back to the
No, but
more
I just want
important
to ask
factor.
you, if I may just pin you down on the turnout. How do you then read the fact that the turnout is so high? Are you suggesting that these are people overwhelmingly coming out to vote for the Samajwadi Party government in the state?
That is just one part of an analyst's view. That if you have a high number of turnout,
Yeah.
which is anti the current government.
How would you read it then?
No, our sense of the entire situation is that the country now needs a new divisive politics. It's all about development. It's all about promoting equality, and it is about what Samajwadi Party stands for, which is predominantly on development, on growth, which is what we are wanting to do. And the voter, the high turnout.
The statements of some of your leaders like Azam Khan didn't necessarily signal that. Didn't signal the fact that they were the rhetoric was about development. But if I can now also throw that across to Chandan. Chandan, your take on the steadily increasing turnout in these elections, and how would you read, again we're waiting for the figures for this phase, but how would you read the numbers so far?
Well, you see, there are two very obvious factors. One is the growing awareness of people, contributed to a great extent by the media, television in particular, which makes people, excited, they are more knowledgeable, they want to cast their vote, more and more people. Second is the increase in population. So over 5 years, several million new voters have been added. These are two obvious factors.
Right.
Apart from that, yes, I think this time there was a strong element of anger against the ruling alliance at the center. People want to remove that alliance and they want to usher in Mr. Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister. So when you want to do something very positive and categorical, you actually go out with a determination and a commitment to vote. So I think that all these factors have combined, and for West Bengal there is one more factor. There has been so much rigging that some of the percentage increase could well be inflated on account of Trinamool goons going and capturing booths. So that has also probably led into West Bengal's figures.
Well, that's
I'm not saying this about most other states.
Right.
Yeah, but
we don't have the Trinamool,
some
we have to
repolling
defend
has
it,
also
so
been.
just to qualify that.
Yeah, okay, but it is obvious. Today, in fact, Election Commission has just ordered repoll in some booths in my constituency. Right. I don't know about others, but yes, this is everybody now knows how elections were conducted this time in West Bengal.
All right, let's just get a quick word in from Mr. Bhadoria before we widen the debate. Mr. Bhadoria, the BSP has in some ways been the silent factor in these elections, running a campaign far less aggressive than what we normally expect from Mayawati. Why is that, firstly? And were you hoping to benefit from this tu-tu meme between the BJP and the SP?
Well, we have not been in the campaign silently. We have been very active, involved, but this is, for us, as far as we are concerned, this is a celebration of democracy, and there is a huge turnout. It should be also considered as a celebration of democracy. And let me tell you that we will have all the results out by the 16th, and we should wait for those results to be out. But however, I must add that there were certain views which were being expressed during the course of the campaign, and more particularly by the associates of a leader who wants to be the Prime Minister, like saying that those Dalit women who invite members in their home as hosts are inviting them for honeymoon and so on and so forth. So it was in a very bad taste. People of the country have not liked it, and if you want to run for a high post, I think the deafening silence which comes from such leaders is something which people don't expect.
Okay, I'm just going to allow Chandan to respond to that, because obviously that's a reference to comments made by a leader of the BJP. Chandan, you want to quickly respond to that?
No, that is the
before I
point
move
to
to
clarify.
Yeah.
That is the point to be clarified, Vasu. The person who made these remarks, and I totally distance myself. I have nothing to do with those statements.
Yes.
I deplore them, but they were made by an itinerant preacher, not by any member of a political party. That gentleman concerned is not a member of the party.
Yes.
He is not a leader. He is nobody. So I don't see why our party leaders should be running around places to say no, we have nothing, we don't agree or we don't agree. This somebody has made a comment. Let him be. You take him on if you are so incensed. Mr. Bhadoria.
No, he was in the campaign. He was in the campaign. Let me tell you, Mr. Modi went and touched his feet. No less than a prime ministerial candidate went and touched his feet. He was in the campaign. He went to many districts. He went to many candidates. So the whole nation watched it. Let me complete. Many of your spokesmen even said that this was a small thing. We should not overblow it. So if that was the case, then you should have said it very clearly then. Now you take another position. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad and many others, including Mr. Rajnath Singh, said, no, let us not blow this up. So let us be fair in this whole debate.
It is truly, it is not worth blowing up. It was a passing remark, and I have clarified he is not a member of the party. We do not own or disown his statements. You take it up with him.
All right, okay.
I don't see why you're attacking me.
Okay,
what about Giriraj Singh? Giriraj Singh, I'll give you so many other names. Mr. Giriraj Singh, who said those who do not vote should be driven to Pakistan. I can give you a whole list of
enough has been said by Mr. Azam Khan.
I think let us bury this whole debate. Let us bury this whole debate and let us move on.
Yes,
no.
Let's not.
I can also tell you what has been said by Mr. Azam Khan.
Yes,
so let us not get into this and recall the entire history of the elections. I think it will be serve no purpose. The elections are over. Now let us
I urge both of you.
I
urge both of you. Let's not revisit everything that's been said in the past 3 months. We could hear.
That's
we could
exactly
hear
what
for
I'm
years
saying.
Otherwise, can I just bring Siddharth Varadarajan in and just ask you this, Siddharth, that while we don't want to revisit every single hate speech or controversial comment made, has the bitterness and the war of words, especially towards the last couple of phases of this election, is that going to impact now what we're going to see after the 16th as all these different political parties now try to firm up alliances, particularly the skirmishing that we've seen between the BJP and Narendra Modi and some of these other leaders like Mamata Banerjee, for instance?
Undoubtedly. I think there's a central paradox in this election where on the one hand the BJP and others have tried to make this an election fought over issues of development and growth, saying that we won't raise partisan issues.
Right.
And side by side with this, you have complete absence of statesmanship in the way in which senior politicians have conducted themselves. It's not as if there hasn't been acrimony in the past. If you look at the 2009 or 2004 election, there were sharp words exchanged between Advani and Manmohan Singh, Sonia Gandhi and Vajpayee in 2004. But I don't think things ever came to such a pass where right from top to bottom, leaders involved, engaged in, pretty crude kind of language, crude kind of statements.
But is this just election time rhetoric, or is this going to burn bridges between some of these parties?
See, the rhetoric is the product of very, very sharp contradictions and clearly shows at one level the desperation of parties to triumph. But obviously, it's going to have its impact because Mamata more or less has, ended the possibility of any alliance
with the NDA.
Of course, in politics, you can never say that things are completely finished. But
Absolutely.
I think I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Mr. Modi also deliberately taking a gamble. Chandan is with us here. He can confirm that the BJP hopes to put in a record performance in Bengal. So, Mr. Modi someday perhaps calculated that, if I'm already running 15-16%, if I campaign more aggressively and hit 20% of the popular vote, I can perhaps get 3-4 seats, which may serve me better than to rely on an ally who is likely to be quite petulant.
But what about someone like Mayawati in the BSP? Because as you said, with Mamata, it seems now fairly certain. But Mr. Bhadoria, if I can just get you in, just from listening to you now, just the last exchange you had with Chandan, are you also categorical that you're ruling out any post-poll possibility with the NDA, or is the option still open?
You see, Bahin Mayawati ji, the national president of the Bahujan Samaj Party, umpteen number of times, well before the elections were announced, made it very clear that she will have no truck with Mr. Modi or the BJP. Then subsequently, during the course of the campaign, she said this, and very lately in Banaras, she also made this amicably clear. So I think let us go by what she has said, and rather than speculate as to what is going to happen.
Has she
and
said that?
The rest will follow on the 16th, and you will know it.
Okay, I'll have to then go back and refresh my memory. I don't remember her saying that in such categorical terms that she is not going to have any post-poll alliance with Narendra Modi. But Chandan, we all know what politicians say during a campaign and then things change. Do you see any possibility of parties like the BSP being potential allies should you need their numbers? Or has the rhetoric during this campaign, as we were just discussing, has that burnt bridges completely?
Vasu, there was a James Bond film, Sean Connery's comeback film, called Never Say Never Again. So every time we discuss these things, I am reminded of the title of that film, because you can never rule out anything. Politics, the old cliche goes, makes strange bedfellows.
No, but
But
Chandan,
as of
Mamta
now,
at least,
I
Chandan,
think-
Mamta at least you'd rule out, right? After everything
Well,
that's
see,
happened, or are you saying even that's
of
never
course,
say
at the-
never?
You see, because of her vote bank politics, Mamta cannot afford at the moment to be seen to come close to BJP in any way. And
Right.
because she's also getting battered by the BJP's rising clout in Bengal, as Siddharth was rightly commenting. So in this scenario, yes, immediately I don't think there will be any such possibility. But look, Vasu, it's a matter of few days. Let's wait and see. I am very confident that NDA is going to get an absolute majority and we won't need any alliances. You may say I'm talking like a party spokesperson, but this is my genuine belief also as an observer of elections for more than 30 years.
Ashutosh, you've had a bit of confusion with the Aam Aadmi Party first indicating that they may support a third front and then retracting that. So are you also trying to keep yourself relevant in some ways in all this post-poll khichdi that we might see?
No. I don't think there is any kind of confusion with the Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party is very, very clear, and Arvind Kejriwal has made it very clear that we are not going to support third front at any cost, and that's a party position. And I don't know. I have read and heard about this PTI copy. I don't know. I haven't been able to talk to Gopal Rai, whom this PTI has quoted. But this is the stated position of the Aam Aadmi Party that we are not going to support third front. It's very clear on that front.
And what about the Congress, Sanjay Jha? I mean, your leaders came out fairly categorically. Salman Khurshid we saw, and also Ahmed Patel, who I interviewed in Gujarat. They said, look, if it comes down to it and if it means, deploying that familiar phrase, keeping communal forces at bay, we're not averse to that prospect at all. Are you seeing, particularly in this very sharp rhetoric of the last phase, is that a reflection of that desperation, that there's a hope, perhaps, that this might actually turn out to be a closer election than what the opinion polls and perhaps even the exit polls are suggesting? And that's where you have a chance to come in, Sanjay Jha.
Vasu, let me tell you what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said in his interview to the Hindustan Times group just a couple of days ago, that we will get the numbers. You see, the ground level things have been remarkably different, and you see it, and the best example of that will probably be Bihar, but let the results come out on the 16th of May. The point I wish to make is that, end of day, as far as this election is concerned, Mr. Modi had to let his guard down from this big development spin, the facade of, talking of growth. When he went to Faizabad, when he talked of pink revolution, when Ram Raja came into play, the backdrops changed to the Ram Mandir. The whole drama in Varanasi is smacked of clear political desperation. So we are very convinced that end of day, the Congress-led UPA will have significantly better numbers than what has been projected in the opinion poll. I haven't seen any exit poll yet. And the truth is that, if you look at the TMC, since you were asking that question earlier of Chandan,
yes,
the TMC has called him the butcher of Gujarat. They've called Mr. Modi the butcher of Gujarat. Now, if you've taken that kind of a moral grandstanding, to expect the TMC to make a political compromise will make them a laughing stock. It's not just their constituency in West Bengal, but they'll be a laughing stock of the country.
But
if I'm not mistaken, she even referred to him.
You're saying that
go ahead,
Mr.
Basu.
Modi's campaign smacked of desperation. Mr. Modi has been tweeting as we speak. He's been tweeting. He says usually ruling party sets the agenda of the election, but in this campaign, the ruling party was neither proactive nor responsive. It remained reactive.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Well, I want to quickly respond to that. The very fact that Mr. Modi, if he believes and his party believes that everything is already done and is just a ceremony that has got to be enacted, the tweets, what are they trying to tell you? That even between now and till May 16th, he will try and somewhere down the line live on a manufactured hype. But I do believe that end of day you're going to see remarkably different numbers. We have done some serious number crunching, and I can tell you all this talk about the NDA and stuff like that. I don't want to make a comment. They have a right to do that, but I do want to tell you those things are absolutely unimaginable. The numbers that we have done, and we have been liberal in our estimation of our opposition, they don't add up. I don't know what numbers are Chandan coming up with.
What's your number?
So I will wait till May 16th.
Stop, stop being coy. Throw out a number, and I'll go to Chandan straight after that. Give us a number, Sanjay, since you seem quite confident of your numbers.
No, we are very confident of our numbers. I'm telling you, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi made this statement, we have got the numbers. No, 1 minute. I mean, I'm not going to fall for your trap, Vasu. I know you're trying hard. It's not going to work. All I'm going to tell you is that you're going to see remarkably, use my word, remarkably different results on May 16th.
As if we've not heard that before. Chandan, do you want to quickly respond before I go across to the Samajwadi
I'll
Party?
quickly respond and remind my friend Sanjay of his leader having stood on the steps of the Rashtrapati Bhavan and said we have 272. We have not forgotten that. I think thereafter all Congress spokespersons have been told don't mention any number anywhere, any time. So I don't want to embarrass him further. I just want to tell you, Vasu.
Do I need to remind you of India shining? Do I need to remind you of 2009?
I'm talking about numbers. No, don't digress, Sanjay. I'm only talking about numbers. I want to say that our president, Mr. Rajnath Singh, has said yesterday that the NDA will get 300 plus. So I think it's a realistic, very realistic figure, and I will stick to that.
There you go, Sanjay. At least the BJP is not ashamed to give you numbers. I mean, the Congress, as far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is actually boycotting the exit polls. Is that true?
Well, let me tell you, I think we stood justified on that, Vasu. If you remember, yes, we did. And we stood justified after we found a lot of the opinion polls were being fabricated. So, we will wait and see, because all channels are playing exit polls. Let them do that. We respect whatever people say. We are not casting aspersions on them. Okay. But we believe the final verdict in a multi-party contest in different states, it cannot be done by a sample size, no matter how big or strategically correct it may be. I think the people's verdict will come on May 16th, and we'll honor that.